first of all, I'd like to thank everyone for taking time out of their busy afternoons to come here and listen a little bit about rejection. Salamat po sa inyong lahat. Alam ko busy tayo and it's a very different time right now. We're almost all at home looking at in front of a screen. No? But first of all, I'd like to thank Max International Philippines, Miss Christine Tria and Miss Gian De Maano for inviting me. And I'd like to say hello to Miss Dere Mulia and Miss Sandra Zita. And again, thank you everybody for taking time out to watch. Okay, so yeah, like Miss Christine said, we're going to talk about how to deal with rejection. All right, so let me just share something I prepared for everybody today. Ma'am, is the slide showing? Do we have it on
Yeah, it
screen?
is. Yes,
Okay.
it is.
All right. So rejection. Yes, that's what we're going to talk about today. I know we all go through this on a daily basis. Actually, there are small rejections that happen from the start of our day. Sometimes it's just as simple as gusto mo na ba kumain? Ayoko pa. That's rejection. Okay, and it happens. It's normal. Everybody goes through rejection. Okay, but first let me introduce myself. I was well introduced by Miss Christine, but let me just uh, share a little bit more. Okay, in 2010, I graduated with a degree in psychology from the University of the Philippines, Diliman. I've worked in different fields for the past 10 years. No, I started my career off at a company. I was a management trainee for marketing. And then I went into entrepreneurship. I became a chef. I had a catering business. And then after that, for the past 6 years before the pandemic, I was a professional basketball coach. Now, you may be wondering, what am I doing coaching basketball professionally? Well, it's always been a passion of mine. And that passion of mine brought me to so many places. I started off here. If you can see that little picture of me in the middle, I'm coaching the son of Marlo Aquino. Okay, and that's in NU, in the UAAP. Later on, I made my way to Talk and Text in the PBA, where I met a lot of great people and a lot of my mentors. Then I've also coached in the MPBL and other leagues across the country, and it's been a great experience. And that's where I worked with a lot of people. And I value teaching and development. That's probably why I got into coaching, and not just sports coaching, but also life coaching. And earlier this year, I completed my certification in life coaching. Okay, but you may be wondering, di ba? Ano ba yung life coaching na yan? Di ba? What is it? Right? I conducted a survey recently for life coaching, and surprisingly, uh, a lot of people who answered the survey did not really know what life coaching was, and I don't blame them. Okay, ano ba yung life coaching? Tuturuan ba kita paano mabuhay? Paano huminga? How to inhale, exhale, 'di ba? How to feed yourself? No, no. Life coaching is a profession. It's a job that answers this request. If somebody says, "Help me achieve my dreams in life," 'di ba? Life coaching is the process of achieving it. Okay, so but who usually does this with us? We have our parents, we have our siblings, we have our friends, di ba? Yan yung kakausapin tayo, sabihin, anak, ano ba gusto mong gawin sa buhay mo? O sige, suportahan kita. Right? We have that. But what makes a life coach different? A life coach presents a systematic process of achieving those dreams. Okay, so it's a process, just like coaching sports. You want to learn a new skill, di ba? When you want to learn that skill, you have to go through training. You have to have a plan. Hindi naman yan basta-basta na I want to be able to do this. Okay, go, I'll support you, and then you'll be able to do it. Okay? So a life coach is somebody who will help you do it and will give you an unbiased opinion. Bakit unbiased? Remember, when you want to do something and you ask your parents, you ask your friends, deep down, they also are invested in you. Your success, may makukuha sila dyan. The life coach is detached, unbiased. Okay, so that's what all the life coach wants, is for you to be able to achieve what you want. Okay, we provide a roadmap for your success. It doesn't mean na kami gagawa para sa iyo, right? But it will help give you a map on how to get there. Okay? Eh ano ba tong mga topics na kino-cover ng life coaching? Okay, here are some questions that I get. Here are some topics that I talk about with my clients, no? So sometimes they come to me, they say, Coach Alexis, how do I control my anger? Okay? How do I figure out my life's purpose? How do I become more motivated? Coach, kulang ako sa work-life balance. Parang puro work na lang ako. What can I do to balance out what I do in life? Right? These are all very, very important parts of our lives, and they can affect us and they can affect the people around us. And the life coach specializes in helping you reach those goals. So I'm here now, diba? And this is where I want to be. I'm there to try to bridge the gap. Okay? And another question that comes up from time to time is, how do I handle rejection? And that's our topic for today. Okay? But before we start, I think Miss Christine touched on this earlier. I'm grateful that she was already able to touch on it. No? But we have to first understand what rejection is. Okay? Our friends over at Merriam-Webster, you know, yung dictionary that we used to, dati book eh. Ngayon you just go online. All right? But rejection is the state of not getting approval or acceptance. Okay, so rejection is not just no. Hindi lang yan, sinabihan ka ng no. Di ba? Na, I want this. No. That's not rejection. That's not all of rejection. Okay, there's another half that deals with acceptance. Okay? And again, remember, keep this in mind. Rejection is a normal part of life. Because even you reject a lot of things. Without rejection, you won't survive. If you just say yes to everything, imagine what your life would be. Anong klaseng buhay yun? Oo ka na lang ng oo. Sometimes you have to say no. And we know that no is also helpful to us. So let's take a look at a couple of examples, no, of rejection. Okay, what can get rejected? Okay, ito. Does this sound familiar to you? Na nagbabasa kayo ng email, di ba? Bubukas kayo, nagbasa kayo ng text. Nag-apply kasi kayo ng trabaho earlier this year, you know, because of the pandemic. Maybe you got redundated, so you applied and then you see this email. Wow, the company sent you an email. And then you see, Dear Mr. Torres, ayan na, excited na ako. We regret to inform you. Nako, delete na kaagad yung email na yan. Right? That is a form of rejection. Okay, you apply for a job and then you get that, we regret to inform you ... That's already being rejected. Okay, and like what you do here, business proposals also get rejected. No, job applications, college entrance exams. So for the parents here and for the students, pag nag-a-apply kayo for college, di ba? You don't get into every college that you apply into. That's rejection, di ba? But another form of rejection that sometimes gets forgotten is acceptance into groups. Okay, what do I mean by acceptance into groups? Ito yung hindi ka kasali. Right? Imagine you're with your friends, di ba? And then suddenly they say, may gagawin ako on Friday at 2:30. Okay, sige, ikaw, not knowing any better, you're just going along with your business. Yun pala, they're attending the Max International Talk on handling rejection at hindi ka nila sinali. Kawawa ka naman. And that's a form of rejection. Okay, when they go to a party, everybody is there and you're not there, that's also rejection. So you're not getting accepted into the group. In basketball terms, for those who play basketball out there, di ba, minsan pupunta kayo sa court, di ba, 10 kayo nandyan. Usually, when it's time to pick the teams, there are two people who choose. Di ba? Team 1 and team 2, I'll choose this guy. O ikaw naman, mamili ka. I'll choose him. I'll choose him. I'll choose him. When you're the last one to be chosen, that's also a form of rejection. They are rejecting your skills. They are rejecting maybe your personality. Hindi ka nila gusto eh. So they don't really want you on the team. Okay, so these are forms of rejection, and like was mentioned earlier, rejection is painful, no? So what are the effects of rejection? Before we get to the strategies, no, on how to deal with it, what are the effects of rejection? Okay, so I think this is from the same study actually that was cited earlier, but people who experience rejection, okay, these are some of the effects. You get aggressive, and there's anger. Alam niyo yung mga school shootings in the US, a lot of the people there, when they were studied after, no, they were socially rejected. Okay, then you also feel anxiety, depression, jealousy, and as was mentioned, it's similar to physical pain. So ang fMRI, just to make it very simple, they are monitoring your brain, no? May machine na nakahook sa utak natin at nakita nila yung part ng brain na nag-activate pag nasaktan ka. So kapag sinapak ka, may part ng brain mo na nagsasabi, "Uy, masakit 'yon." When you get rejected, the same part of your brain activates. Kaya kapag sinabi mo, "Pare, nakipag-break siya sa akin, ang sakit naman, ang sakit sa puso." That's right, it's literally painful. Okay. So I think that's good for getting the definition, but it's always better to give an example. No? So let's see how this works in real life. Well, not in real life, but let's take a look at how it works in a fictional setting. Okay, may kwento ako. It's actually a guilty pleasure of mine. Okay, so this guilty pleasure of mine is K-dramas. Okay, I love to watch K-dramas, and one of the more recent ones that I watched was this show called Startup. Okay, so kung napanood nyo na yung Startup, I think you'll get to relate if you haven't seen it. Don't worry, there are no spoilers. Galit na galit ako sa mga taong nagsuspoil. Biglang mababasa ko doon na namatay na pala si ganito, unfriend. Unfriend na kaagad yan. Okay? But the gist of Startup is it's a story about entrepreneurs. Okay, kaya Startup, they have their startup companies, and then they want to be able to grow their company. So they're looking for investors. All right? I think you're following. So now we can see where rejection might come in, di ba? So whatever you have in mind, you're probably wrong because I want to focus on this guy. All right? So it's not about his company. I want to focus on him. Okay, nakikita nyo? I will not call him by his Korean name because I am pretty sure that I will butcher his Korean name. So we'll call him JP for the sake of simplicity. Si JP, manliligaw siya. Alam natin, ang mga drama, may love story yan. So let's take a look at the love story. Something that a lot of people can relate to. Okay, so sa mga nabusted na dyan at mga non-busted na dyan, this is for you. Okay, remember we talked about how rejection is usually an answer to a yes or no question. Okay, so the proposal here from JP is he likes a girl, and the proposal is gusto niya maging girlfriend yung girl. Okay, so let's see, what does he have to offer? Okay, in the show, he's rich, he's handsome, self-made, intelligent. Okay, ano yung mga negative? Siguro a negative would be torpe siya. Okay, he's an orphan in Korean culture from what I know because of the little I know from watching their shows. Kapag orphan ka, ayaw nila yon. Kasi tinitingnan nila lagi, ano ba ginagawa ng nanay mo? Ano ginagawa ng tatay mo? That's important for them. Okay? Now, JP wants to be with Suzy. Okay, so the proposition here is, Suzy, gusto mo ba maging girlfriend ko? So there is a possibility for rejection. Suzy now is the decision maker. Diba? Just like us when we offer our business proposals, diba? When we talk to a client, the client is the decision maker. They have the choice to accept or reject JP's offer. So ano bang ino-offer ni JP? This is me. I'm rich, I'm handsome, I'm self-made, I'm a nice guy, mabait ako. Okay, pero yes, I have my negatives, diba? Now the question is, what can influence Susie's decision. Okay? What will stop this from happening? Bagay pa sila. Oh. Okay. Slight spoiler. If you don't want to know the spoiler, close your eyes, close your ears. But the decision was no. Okay? She said no. Now, I'm sure some of you, you're watching, pag kayo nakita nyo siya, anong no? Ako yes na yes ako dyan. But in the show, she said no. Why? Because there are factors that are beyond our control. There are some things that we don't have control over, like somebody else that she might like. Which brings me to something that I like to call the locus of influence. All right, what is this locus of influence? The locus of influence are just two circles that crossover. Okay, meron silang part where they intersect. Okay, you can see the red circle. Okay, under the red circle, it's called all of the uncontrollable factors. Ano ba yung mga uncontrollable factors na yan? The weather, di ba? Traffic, di ba? Kung ano yung nasa isip ng client mo, ano yung mga judgment niya, di ba? You can't control a lot of those things. Then in the blue circle, you can see what are the controllable factors. Diba? You can control what you wear. Today, I chose to wear this shirt. That's controllable. I could have chosen to wear a white t-shirt. I could have chosen to wear a sando, but I chose to wear this. It's a controllable factor. I can also control the tone of my voice, how loud I speak, diba? My posture. Very simple things that are usually inward. Those are controllable. And in the middle, medyo maliit lang, no? Pero it says influence. Some people, they call this the locus of control. Ako, I modified it a little bit to work for me because I think that what you can control does not necessarily change what you cannot control. So just because I wear a shirt na may kwelyo doesn't mean maniniwala ka sa akin. Just because I shave a little bit doesn't necessarily mean na you'll find me trustworthy. Diba? All I can do is influence you in that direction. So if I have a judgment, if your client already has prejudgment about you, kahit anong gawin mo, you can only influence it slightly. Diba? Wala tayong total control over what that person is thinking. Okay? So actually, mali yung slide na to. So let me adjust it for you. This is the correct locus of influence. We usually think that we have more control than we actually do. Sa totoo lang po, we control very little and that there are so many more factors out there that we do not have control over. So when you go to your client, maganda naman yung produkto na dala mo, maganda naman yung offer mo, but there are many other factors that you do not control. And you are only hoping that all of the nice things that you present, just like what JP presented to Susie, guwapo ako, mabait ako, mayaman ako, matalino ako, all of those things, you're just hoping it will influence, diba? You'll hope that it influences her to say yes. Unfortunately for JP, there was one big uncontrollable factor as to why she said no. Nung tinanong siya, ano ba yung gusto mo? Ang gusto daw niya dun sa isang guy, no? It's his hands. If you watch the show, she'll say, it's the hands. Ano magagawa ko? Hindi ko naman kamay yon. Right? So that's how you have, now, he has to deal with the rejection. Which brings us to what we're supposed to be talking about in the first place. Okay, what are the strategies to deal with rejection? Okay, pasensya na po, medyo mahaba. Ngayon lang tayo dumating sa strategy, but it's because the strategies are very simple and it's very short. And it can be easy to remember. All right. It's a 3-step strategy that starts with the letter A because I like the letter A. In my family, I'm married with 1 child, and the 3 of us, all of our names start with the letter A. And for me, that makes it easier to give a lecture. Ngayon, the 3 steps that I propose for you to deal with rejection, no, is to accept, to analyze, and finally to adjust. Okay? Accepting is the first step. Okay? When we accept, we have to understand that no means no. It shows that we understand, nakakaintindi tayo ng no. Let's take it away first from the sales perspective and just say na when somebody is forcing you to do something that you don't want to do, di ba? May pinapagawa sa'yo, ayaw mong gawin at nag-no ka at pinipilit niya na gawin mo yon, di ba? That's a violation of your rights. That's how criminals think. When you say no and they insist that it's a yes, di ba? That's when bad things happen. So the first thing that we need to do is to accept the no. But don't take it personally. Okay, remember, we started with this: rejection is common. It happens all the time. It happens every day. Diba? And we shouldn't take it personally. Mahirap gawin yun, ha? And I tell this to my clients all the time. When I tell you something, even if it sounds simple, it is not easy. It's still painful. Masakit pa rin yun. But as much as possible, remember, since we're trying to deal with it and these are the strategies, don't take it personally. Let's just accept that it's a no. And if it's a clear-cut no, di ba, stop na tayo kaagad. Alright? But the acceptance stage should be very quick. Di ba? Because everybody gets rejected. Ang tanong na lang po ngayon, the question is, how long will it take us to recover from the rejection? So nireject ka na, busted ka na, sinabihan si JP, no, I like the other guy. The question is, how long will it take you to recover from the initial rejection? So once you accept it, let's move quickly. Let's go straight to analyzing why did he or she say no? Bakit ba nag-no yung kliyente sa inyo? Bakit ba nag-no si Suzy kay JP kahit na ang ganda naman ng offer niya? 'Di ba? Now first ask yourself, what did my client say? What did this person say to me? You have to listen. Okay, hindi yung no lang tapos wala na, no, galit siya sa akin, ayaw niya sa akin. No, we should have been listening. 'Di ba? What does no mean? Does no mean never? Never, I will never be your girlfriend. Or does it mean not now? Those are two different ways to interpret no. Diba? When we understand that no means never, we should stop. And even sales experts will say, wag na natin habulin ang mga tao na they will reject you 100%. Let's not waste our energy. Let's not waste our time on people who will not entertain us. Diba? Naghahabol tayo, yung you're selling something to somebody who doesn't want to buy. But if we were listening properly and we know that the answer no actually means not right now, there's still a chance that the no can become a yes in the future. But remember, it's not right now. So we have to accept that right now, the answer is no. Diba? But because we're now using our brains, we're analyzing, yung not right now means there's a chance. Diba? Ito yung mga busted ako pero titignan, but you're saying there's a chance. Pero pwede pa, diba? Yan yung mga paasa. May pag-asa pa. Okay? So what do we do after analyzing? We have to adjust. Okay? Ibig sabihin, kulang ang ino-offer natin. Right? In JP's case, the answer was never. Why? Or closer to never. Why? Because she wanted the hands. Diba? Unless he changes his hands, mukhang never na yon. Diba? Or kailangan mawala muna yung isang tao, and that's not very realistic. Diba? But if the answer, for example, with the client is not right now, that means the chance of changing something in the future is there. But what do we do to adjust? Paano ba tong adjustment? Kanina ka pa, coach, salita ka lang ng salita. Ano ba yung adjust na yan? Anong gagawin ko? Tell me what to do. Okay? We have to create value. Okay? What do I mean by creating value? It means that what you initially proposed was not enough and it was not valuable enough to the person that you offered it to. 'Di ba? So kung going back to the basketball example, ikaw yung huling pinili. O kaya kung marami kayo dun, hindi ka pinili sa team. Like me, when I was a basketball coach, I had to cut some players. Some of you were not able to join the team. 'Di ba? Now, I was rejected. How can I make the team next year? I have to create something of value so that the coach will not make the mistake again of not picking me. I have to do something that will impress him enough to say yes. And that's where the challenge begins for us. Okay? The strategy dealing with rejection, hindi to emotional, hindi to, sige, pag ni-reject ka, iiyak mo lang yan. That's not the strategy that I'm suggesting. No? Dealing with rejection and rejection that deals with your life and with your livelihood, more importantly, is work. It takes your brain, not just your heart. Alam kong masakit yon, di ba? And studies show that it really is painful. And do you want to know the reason why I have worked for so many basketball teams? The reason why is because I've been rejected from each and every one. Ang hindi po alam ng karamihan, kapag natatalo ang basketball team, isa sa mga unang tinatanggal ay yung coach. No? The players usually get to stay. And it's not anybody's fault, but that's really just how it works. No? But what do? You have to create something valuable so that the next team that will see you will still say that he is valuable enough to join our team. Because you have to keep on creating new value and learn, di ba? And learn from the mistakes that happened in the past. Okay, so that's what adjustment means. Okay? When we accept, no na kaagad yan, let's not dwell on it. The faster we can recover, the better. Okay? And that takes practice. If you're like me, who's been rejected so many times by the teams after a few seasons, Coach Alexis, it's been nice, thank you, but we're going in a different direction. Okay, time to move on. But if you ask my wife, she'll know that I don't move on very quickly. Okay, but we have to. And now we go to analysis. What does it mean? Diba? How do I prevent the rejection from happening in the future? And then let's take a look. How do I adjust? Ano yung mga adjustment na kailangan kong gawin para mas successful na ako? So that my proposals, so that the acceptance will happen for me. Okay? We'll use that rejection as an opportunity to learn and to grow. Okay? Professor Carol Dweck in her book Mindset, no, and also Dr. Angela Duckworth in her book Grit, no, they always talk about using opportunities like this, like rejection or your mistakes, as an opportunity to learn, no, as an opportunity to grow. Kasi we learn more from our mistakes than from our successes. The more mistakes, if you make a mistake, alam mo, hindi ko na uulitin to. When you are successful, sometimes you're just lucky. And you're not really learning that much just by being successful. So the rejection helps us grow. It pushes us in the right direction. Okay? So that's it. Remember the 3 A's. Okay? Accept, analyze, and adjust. Okay? So thank you. All right. That's my presentation today on how to deal with rejection. Okay, so these are the 3 A's in the picture. That's me, my wife Abby, and my daughter Alicia. Yeah.
Okay, siguro let me start. with the first question. So kanina, Alexis, you mentioned that there are no can be not now or never. Are there like telltale signs na
Mm.
ay not now to, hindi to never, pwede pa to? Kasi sabi rin ni Sandra,
Mm.
ni Diamond Sandra, parang don't block them, don't
Yes.
kumbaga unfriend them.
Opo.
So,
Yes.
what are the signs?
Okay. Uh, if you've heard of the term read between the lines, the importante po yung skill na yun. The skill of reading between the lines is really listening to what is being said. When we say telltale signs, I'm not going to say tingnan mo kung nakakross ang arms niya o kung tumitingin siya sa right or sa left. No. We have to listen to the exact words that are being said. Listen to what is being said. 'Di ba? I think it's easier to give an example going back dun sa binigay ko earlier, no, when JP was rejected, 'di ba? Sabi sa kanya, ang gusto ko yung kamay nung isang guy. So now you have to listen, 'di ba? We have to listen. Is she saying is she giving me a chance to change her answer? So if we think about it, 'di ba? Between the lines, hindi ang gusto ko wala sa 'di ba? So the telltale signs that we're looking for change depending on the context, depending on the conversation, and depending on what the person you're talking to is saying. Kaya makinig po tayo. Parang hindi ako komportable diyan sa binebenta nyo, ma'am. Baka ganun yung sagot. So now, ask some more. Ask more questions so that we know what they are thinking. The what is just as important as the why. No? That's how we can adjust. We need clues. Diba? So walang mga telltale signs. We have to ask. Kailangan magtanong po tayo. Huwag kayong mahiya na magtanong. Kasi kung nag-know na siya sa'yo, use it as an opportunity to learn. Diba? So they already said no. O ngayon, how will I make it a yes? Kung hindi man sa kanya yung yes, at least to somebody else in the future who might give me a similar answer. 'Di ba? Baka sa future may kausap ko, ganyan din yung sagot. At least ngayon, nasa isip ko na, alam ko na, ito pala yung concern niya. So at least the next time na may makausap akong ganito, ma-address ko na yung concern. 'Di ba? Unlike ito, the first time na caught off guard ako, hindi ko alam anong gagawin ko, 'di ba? That's how we adjust. That's how we analyze.
And for our diamonds now, in the course of your life, do you ever get desensitized about rejection? Like, I read the book, what he did was like 365 days. Ang title ng book is Rejection Proof. So what he would do every day is really to do things, kumbaga, to challenge himself to get rejected that day. So that, parang he gains confidence in dealing with it. Has it, ever reached that point, in any aspects of your life? Siguro let's start with Alexis.
Well, rejection isn't always bad. No, rejection isn't always bad. Sometimes rejection is something that you need. No, because rejection will, like I said earlier, it will push you in the right direction. And diba, if it's about desensitizing, I also don't know if that's very helpful to be desensitized to rejection kasi ibig sabihin, you're not following where you're supposed to go anymore. Instead of feeling painful because when our bodies feel pain, ano ibig sabihin ng pain? Pain means it's bad. 'Di ba? Kapag may ginawa ka at masakit or 'di ba, yung parang sabihin natin nagluluto, 'di ba, habang nagluluto ka tapos napaso ka, you don't do it anymore because it's painful. And that's how rejection also works with us. From a psychological point of view, pain is helpful. Pain is part of our system. And pain teaches us what to do and what not to do. So if you try to desensitize yourself from rejection, you might be stopping yourself from finding those clues. Ang gusto mo nga, mas sensitive ka but less emotional. Okay, so sensitive ka pa rin, you're listening to the rejection, you're identifying and accepting the rejection, but you're not taking it personally and you're not being emotional about it. Ginagamit mo lang siya. Let it be. Let yourself be rejected, but still identify it. Don't be numb to it. Na ni-reject ka, okay, sige, okay lang reject, sige, na-reject, okay, okay. Hindi pwedeng ganun.
And what do you do when someone says yes and then cancels?
Well, we still follow the same principles. Accept that it was now a no. It was a yes, now it's a no. And the longer you stay na, bakit nag-yes ka na? Ngayon nag-no ka, don't make it an emotional issue. As difficult as it can be.
Yes.
As Filipinos, no, and studies show this in Filipino psychology, no, it's part of us. No, when we become sensitive to things that are said, no, words that are said. But again, we just have to accept and go straight to the analyze step, 'di ba? Ano ba ibig sabihin nun? Biglang naging not now or biglang naging never? 'Di ba? And then we make our adjustment afterwards. And it's correct, keep the lines open, 'di ba? Always look for clues to help you out. Kasi wala naman po talagang magic dito. There is no miracle for changing somebody's mind. All we can do, 'di ba, is control what we can control, 'di ba? And we let the uncontrollable happen, 'di ba? Basta focus lang tayo dun sa kaya natin.
Up our conversation this afternoon. What has been your biggest rejection siguro, and the learnings from it?
Pwede po bang pass sa question na to?
Sige lang.
No,
Sige
I'm
lang
just
siguro.
no, no,
What
I'm
what
just
do you want to
kidding.
say to
No,
our viewers, to our
uh,
associates?
no,
And
I am just kidding, ma'am. But again, before we go, I want to thank again Max International for inviting me to speak. Thank you, Miss Christine, Miss Gian, for facilitating this. Miss Gay, I'm sorry for your loss, but it's nice to meet you. Miss Sandra, thank you also for sharing. I guess when it comes to my biggest rejection, it's something that all of us can share. And it happened in 2019, but the effects were felt in 2020. This pandemic is a big rejection. And I guess in my adult life, nothing has rejected me from my job, which was coaching basketball. And as you know, you can turn on your TV and the only basketball you can see are either replays or the NBA. So unless po bukas makikita nyo ako sa NBA, I am still rejected from my main line of work for the past 6 years. And that's pretty painful, no? But then we all have to move forward, diba? And I think we're all affected. We were all affected by this big rejection from the world, by something that we don't really have control over. So focusing again on what you can control and just letting the uncontrollable happen, diba? That's so important in survival and in living a good life.